Hello everyone, here's a quick Magic the Gathering crash course on some keyword abilities. Abilities that show up again and again, so cards don't have to lay out the entire rules text every time. These are going to be important to know because they just come up all the time. This is going to be a lot to take in, but these are good to know if you're new because you might get a card with a huge text box that has a keyword ability and it doesn't have room for the reminder text to tell you what it does. What the heck does Hexproof do again? Today we're going to be going over the evergreen keywords, abilities that are always relevant, so they're the most important ones to learn. First up is First Strike. Much like an annoying commoner, a first strike creature strikes first. It deals combat damage before any other creature does. And if two or more creatures have first strike, they both deal damage at the same time before any other creature without first strike does. You can mostly see first strike abilities in red and white. And like first strike, there is also double strike. A creature with double strike deals first strike damage and normal strike damage. There are two instances of damage happening, so this is great for if you're using equipment. An important thing to note, if a creature with double strike is blocked by a creature and that creature dies after first strike, the double strike creature is still blocked, so it doesn't deal any further combat damage. You'll still see double strike creatures in red and white like first strike for the most part. Next up is flying. A creature with flying can only be blocked by other creatures with flying or creatures that have reach, and they can block creatures that have flying or creatures that don't have flying. You can see flyers in basically all colors, but they're the least common in green. And while we're on the subject, a creature with reach can block creatures with flying. And you can mostly find reach creatures in green and sometimes white and red. And next, real quick, we have Haste. Haste creatures don't have summoning sickness. Now, what's summoning sickness? Summoning sickness means that a creature can't attack or activate abilities with a tap symbol in it unless you've controlled it continuously since the start of your turn. A creature with haste ignores this. They can attack and tap right away. For the most part, you'll see haste creatures in red and occasionally green, although sometimes blue creatures have it for some reason, even if they can't attack. Next up is Trample. A creature with Trample will deal excess damage to the defending player or planeswalker while it's attacking. So if I attack you with a 6/6 and you block with a 1/1, you'll be dealt 5 damage. And an important thing to note about Trample creatures is that if you destroy the creature that's blocking the creature with Trample, then all the damage will go through the defending player. So if you have a way of removing blockers this way, creatures with Trample will be really good for getting it for damage. Amble Gramps will trample a sample of Cramped Old Rankle. After that is Menace. A creature with Menace can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. And an important thing to note is that even if one of those 2 creatures are gone after blocks are declared, the attacking creature is still blocked, so no damage gets through and the blocks aren't undone. Menace is an ability that replaced older abilities like Intimidate and Fear, which we'll get to in another video, and you'll mostly see Menace in red, green, and black. Stay with me here. The next ability is Vigilance. This means that attacking doesn't cause this creature to tap, so it can still block or activate tap abilities. You'll usually see Vigilance in white, green, and sometimes blue. Up next is Lifelink. A creature with Lifelink, when it deals damage, also causes you to gain that much life. And this happens instantly, it's not a triggered ability. So if you have a creature with Lifelink and there are 2 1/1s attacking you and you're at 1 life, you'll gain life in time for you to survive. And important to know, multiple instances of Lifelink are redundant. If a creature has Lifelink more than once, it'll still only gain you life once. You'll most often see Lifelink in white and in black. Next up is Deathtouch. Any amount of damage from this creature is enough to destroy another creature. And you'll mostly see this in black and in green. And like Lifelink, it's not a trigger. They'll die instantly. Okay, and if you're new to the game, this is important to know. If you ever have a creature that has Deathtouch and Trample, it's a wombo combo because you only need to deal 1 damage to any creatures blocking it in order for it to be lethal damage. So let's say you have a Karen Wanderer with Trample and Deathtouch, and your opponent has a Walls of Bossing Say. Well, it doesn't matter how much toughness it has. Your Karen Wanderer will only need to assign 1 damage to it if it has Deathtouch, and the other 3 damage will bleed over. Awesome. And while we're on the subject, there's also Defender. Defender means this creature can't attack. Now this used to only be on walls, but now walls have changed. Walls used to not be able to attack as a definition of their creature type, but now the rules have been changed so that all walls just have Defender as an ability. Back in the day, if an ability let you change a creature's creature type, you could change it to a wall and stop them from being able to attack. But now that the rules have changed, that doesn't work anymore. Creatures that have all creature types, like changelings, will still be able to attack even though they're walls, because it's not a part of their definition of their creature type anymore, That's just an ability that they have. Does that make any sense? Next up is Flash. A creature with Flash can be cast at any time you can cast an instant, meaning on anyone's turn, any time that you have priority. And you'll mostly see Flash creatures in white, blue, and green. During my first draft ever, I didn't know what Flash was, so when I saw Bounding Krasis, I had to ask people around me, what does Flash do? And they all immediately answered, yeah, you could cast it anytime you could cast an instant. Duh. How was I supposed to know? I guess it does say on the card, but still. Next up is Ward. Ward is a triggered ability that says whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or an ability that an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless they pay the ward cost. And the ward cost is usually mana, but it can also be things like paying life, sacrificing permanence, it just depends. This is another reason why can't be countered spells are great, because they get around paying the ward cost for removing creatures with ward. Ward mostly replace a different ability, Hexproof, which says that this permanent can't be the target of spells and abilities your opponents control at all. You'll also see things that say Hexproof from white, Hexproof from black, Hexproof from different things. Now, just because you can't target a creature doesn't mean it's safe from things like board wipes or sacrifice. It just means it can't be the target of a spell or an ability. You'll mostly find hexproof creatures in green and in blue, and white can often make you, the player, hexproof. And last one for today is Indestructible, and that means that destroy effects and lethal damage don't destroy this creature. Now, it can still be killed by being exiled or being sacrificed, bounced back to hand, having its toughness reduced to 0, still like that. It can still be killed, just not through destroy effects or by lethal damage. And it doesn't stop Trample. You still just assign trample damage equal to its toughness, and the rest will go over. So something that's been enchanted by Darksteel Mutation is not the end-all be-all blocker that you might think it is. And that's all for today. So those aren't the only keywords that you'll see in every set. There'll be others, but you can count on those being in basically everywhere. And then in the next video, I'll go over some deciduous abilities that don't come up in every set, but you'll still see them pretty commonly. Just remember, it's not about the magic, it's about identifying key words and phrases.